Travis, my good soul. If those of you who have been paying close attention to my videos, you'll notice that I've been in harmony, shall we say, at one with the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith. That's purposely done, though not intentionally done. That's just an expected result, because I put forth the research and the study necessary to learn about Mormonism.
Yes, if you have a service animal in shelter with you, can you please come down to the desk and speak with Benita? If you have a service animal in shelter with you, can you please come down and speak with Benita? Thank you.
You're being banned. Like, those guys got bad. They never bothered to clean. I don't know now if that's the cause of the perpetual coughing, or if it's going to be perpetual coughing until I cough it out, which maybe never. I don't know. And so, yeah, when you immerse yourself in the scriptures, you emulate in your life that which you read. And unfortunately, Mormons are having trouble with this, as they've become the secret band of Gadianton and the Cora whores, as they are offended. See, they're already offended. They've left and put their thumbs down. Oh, Travis! They cannot seem to think that if you're not guilty, you shouldn't be offended. You're only offended because you're guilty. They don't get it. They think they're going to trigger me by putting in a hate threat and a death comment, and dear God. And so, yeah, I'm not here to destroy Joseph Smith or the Book of Mormon. This is what ex-Mormons can't grasp. They can't figure it out. What are you doing? You say the church isn't true. You say the Book of Mormon isn't literal history. And yet, it's because I did actual research, guys. I'm not just going to parrot whom I'm choosing to follow. I let science lead the narrative. I let science establish the truth. And in so doing, I found out the reason why there are over 36 different contemporary pieces of work contained within the Book of Mormon. That's why the Book of Mormon is not literal history. That's why Joseph Smith had a seer stone but didn't mention using it.
Benjamin Benson, you have a visitor in the main lobby. Benjamin Benson, visitor in the main lobby.
Etc., etc., etc. Because I did the scientific process of research. And so I'm not here to destroy Joseph Smith or the Book of Mormon. I am here to fulfill it, to explain it to you guys, to restore it. Because Joseph Smith was a victim of abuse and sabotage. And that's the message that I'm trying to get across. And even though there's a person who's not using earphones, as is required on the upper level, I must emphasize that Nelson is purposely not. I've got to. And so if you notice Nelson, he's done everything to push against having Joseph Smith restored. He's restoring Brigham Young. He's even said it, mentioned it, brought it up. And so it's necessary to see the difference. Nelson is purposely restoring Brigham Young's church. He's not caring about Joseph Smith's church. He's not caring about the Book of Mormon. He's not fulfilling the doctrine of the Book of Mormon. He's not pushing a Jewish Christ. That's white supremacy, guys. Nelson's a white supremacist. I did the video where I have him on audio as a racist. Posted that, nobody cared. It was after the Brad Wilcox scandal. Found Nelson. This is why they didn't terminate and excommunicate Wilcox. They have no interest in being good. And therefore, I saw it here. Verse 19, Matthew chapter 5. Whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. What's the least degree of glory, Mormons? Yeah, telestial. Can be tricky sometimes. It goes celestial at the top, terrestrial, telestial, for our plan of happiness as we go around as missionaries telling people. And it does seem kind of complicated. We should have focused on faith, how you're supposed to use science, but no, we'd rather talk about afterlife and the purpose of paying tithing. Here's another point of incorrectly teaching people false precepts about tithing. Let me pull it up here while she's rambling off, interrupting my video. Is it this one? See, listen to this Mormon. See how twisted he is here. Because if I need to, I'll give a little explanation of tithing correctly. Abraham did not pay tithes to Melchizedek. It was tribute to Pharaoh. He had conquered the king, saving his brother or cousin or whoever, Lot. It's all part of the story, so I don't care the relation. And so then you get to Malachi. If will a man rob God? You have robbed me in tithes and offerings. Conjunction, junction, what's your function? Anybody watch that? Apparently not the younger generation. And so what you have then is tithing is now separated from offerings. And tithing is for the storehouses. The storehouses are for the poor. And yet we call ours fast offering. So what are we using tithing for? We're not using it like Malachi said. We're using it for something else. It's requirement for membership. Okay? Now that's called a protection racket. It is not the same as in other Christian churches. So, Sanadika 1 Brunel. Generic thumbnail. You are so misleading. Were you a member and now disgruntled? Trying to treat me as the other. Being abusive. If so, maybe you should examine yourself. Again, typing on the little cell phone. And so it doesn't qualify though. I am a member. I'm not disgruntled. I've learned the truth through science. Tithing is a biblical ordinance. Ordinance? Are you sure about ordinance? Piece of legislation enacted by a municipal authority. Yeah, an authoritative order. He's stretching it. The church, yes, it's an ordinance. We are required to pay. But they try to attach it to God. See, now listen to this. His understanding of agency. You can choose not to tithe. Sure I can. I can choose not to be a member. But look what they've done to me. I'm no longer going to church. I'm no longer affiliated with the church. And see what they've done to me still? This is how the church treats people who choose not to be Mormon. But then if you choose that you can't expect to be able to do things that require you to follow and obey your ordinances, when you get baptized and you agree to the law of tithing. No one forced you to get baptized. Kinda did. I was 8 years old and one day. It was a Saturday. Birthday was on the Friday.
Jerry Madrill, you have a phone. Jerry Madrill.
And so, for children in the church to pay tithing, which is a protection racket, now you got child slave labor as part of the protection racket. So you are breaking your oath if you do not tithe. Yeah, loyalty oath. Remember that. It's being used for the wrong purposes. It's being used for the coffers of the church, not for the poor and the needy and the sick and the afflicted. Remember that. He, she, whoever the false identity is, they don't care. It's all about forcing other people's agency. That's why this person was reported. This is abuse. This is a threat. Threatening me to be loyal to the church for their crimes. Helaman chapter 6, guys. Helaman chapter 6. And so, yeah, there's a big difference between a person who speaks the words of Scripture versus someone who's speaking their own words and misinterprets Scripture purposely to deceive. Nelson has done that to you. And clearly, you're not catching on. You've been punked.